Yes. We're back on the show, on the next show, with your boy D minus. D minus in his house. On this episode, I want to discuss things of baseball nature because, hey, it's back. Major League Baseball is back. 60-game schedule. It's going to be a short grind. It's going to be a sprint to the playoffs. Should be interesting because Major League Baseball is back. And more importantly, my Toronto Blue Jays are back. So I'm going to get into a bit of that, some discussion about what's going on with the Blue Jays, how they've started so far, what I've seen, some empty stadium baseball. It's crazy. Never thought I'd see the day in the league's history where that would happen. But here we are, talking about empty stadium baseball. I also want to get into some AEW talk, of course, just a little bit though. I do want to discuss baseball mostly. That's why we got the baseball background set up. It looks beautiful with all the Toronto Blue Jays stuff. Very nice. So yeah, I'm going to get into some of that talk and just anything that's on my mind really, since this is my show and you're watching me right now. So you're watching, you're listening, whether it be on YouTube or your podcast downloader or any program where you can convert YouTube videos to MP3, listen to them later. I do that a lot. You can always do that. So, yeah, first things first, we'll get into a discussion about the empty stadium baseball here that I was witness to. I know I've had a few days off from recording. Had to shore up some things, had to take a bit of an emergency out-of-town trip to deal with something to do with the Fam Jam. So that's all progressing well and good. So just hope and pray that everything goes well in the future and all that. But while I was out and about, I did manage to catch a game, the Yankees home opener, in which they won 4-1 against the Nats. Stanton right off the bat, dingers it out of there. Good for him. I think he's going to have, if he stays healthy, obviously, he's going to have a great start. I know there's going to be a lot of haters out there saying this guy's talking about the Yankees when he's got Blue Jays stuff on, but, the Yankees and Dominicans have long history and long ties together. So, I do keep track of them every once in a while and see what's going on. I mean, they had their opening night before the Blue Jays, so I was just so happy to watch it, and it was pretty interesting. I think the Yankees are going to be right back in the mix for another AL East title. The Blue Jays, I see them fighting for a wild card spot. Honestly, I mean, Vlad Jr., 60-game season. They were saying on the Yankees game they're projecting him to have, 20 plus, maybe 30 home runs. But I'm not so sure about that. I mean, he's still a kid. He's still coming into his own. He's definitely got the power, just like his pops, and he's got the great swing. But I don't know. I think the Blue Jays, as usual, unless they have amazing pitching. You could have all the hitting in the world, but pitching wins championships. There's home runs and offense just puts people in the seats. That's how it's always been. Any sport, every sport. So you got to get solid pitching. That's for sure. But I think the Blue Jays might contend. They got off to a pretty good start with the first game. I believe they won against the Red Sox, and then I think they had to cancel the other game. I don't know what happened there, but yeah. And the weird thing is that they're not allowed to play in Toronto for their home games. I thought that was really weird. I mean, if they're gonna have an NHL bubble in Toronto, why can't you have a Blue Jays Major League bubble in Toronto? I don't understand. Strange to me. But regardless, they're gonna be playing a lot of games, and they're going to have just as good a shot as any to get into the playoffs, do some damage. Hopefully, if all these young guys stay healthy and they produce and they mature and they understand the aspects of the game and what it takes to win, and making sure that they have a winning mindset, never quitting, always playing till the last out. So things of that nature. I could come up with every cliche in the world, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there, you got to hit. You got to run the bags, and you got to pitch, more importantly. So that's just it, and hopefully the manager can do a few things, make a few good decisions as far as relief pitching and, who to sub in, who to sub out at whatever stage in the game. But, um, you know, it all plays into each other. It all plays into each other. So hopefully the Blue Jays can do well. They've had a pretty decent start, but let's just keep the ball rolling. I'm not going to be impressed until they won a string a few games. If they can go. I don't know, maybe like 6-4, 7-3 in the first 10 games. That would be very impressive. I would love to see something like that. But just if you're going to be mediocre, then you're going to be mediocre. With a 6-game schedule, you cannot afford slow starts. That's one thing for sure. So, the Blue Jays need to come out hot, and they need to come out swinging, and they need to come out pitching fire, straight fire. So let's hope they can get all that done, and they can get off to a hot start, make the playoffs, and who knows what can happen from there. So one other thing I wanted to discuss briefly was just I was watching a bit of AEW Dynamite highlights, and I don't know, wasn't very impressed with the show this week. Jericho, as always, cuts a great bit. He's the demo god for a reason. He's Le Champion for a reason. So he's still getting it done. But I don't know. Overall, I wasn't really impressed with what they're doing with this storyline with Brody Lee trying to convince Hangman Page to turn to the Dark Order and this and that. I don't want to get too much into it for the folks that wanted to stick around for baseball and possibly some hockey talk, but yeah, overall they're still killing it for me. They're still number one in the power rankings. That hasn't really changed at all, really, for a while. I really don't see it happening either. I don't see much from Impact, TNA, whatever their name is, and WWE is still stale, man. I, if I just want to just dabble into that a little bit, and especially about like Extreme Rules, I was watching a lot of like reaction and things of that nature. Specifically, the Hall of Fame show with Booker T and Brian, whatever his name, Brad Gilman, whatever his name is. My apologies. Oh, and my apologies also to Tessa Blanchard. On the previous show, I was saying, oh, what's her name? World Champion of Impact. My apologies, because she's pretty accomplished. Again, she was just doing her job. The fact that the company decided to write that kind of script is quite a joke. But Tessa Blanchard, big ups to her. They're saying that she might sign with WWE if she ever gets out of Mexico. So we'll see how that goes. So, anyways, yeah, Impact still distant third. WWE Extreme Rules. I don't know, man. I was watching the Hall of Fame reaction, the post pay-per-view reaction, bits and pieces of it, just on YouTube here and there. And I don't know. I usually agree with what Booker T says, and this time is no different. I don't know what more to say than what those guys have said. The finish of those matches just spoiled everything. These guys go out there, put on a show, and everything's predetermined and whatnot. But it's just a shame that such good matches had to end that way. And then they thought that the eye for an eye match with Rollins and Ray was going to be the cinematic style type of match, and that didn't happen. That ended up being an actual like live but taped match. So the end result again, people want to see like somebody's eye popping out if you're gonna set it up like that. So it's just like, where do you go from there? It's like when Ray fell off the roof, or if Braun Strowman is supposed to drown or something. Like, I don't know, man. When you're writing these kind of scripts, you're playing with fire a little bit, because then it's almost like you're kind of forcing the character to have to change their gimmick almost, and come back with something new, because it's like, oh well, didn't this guy die? Well, now we're expecting this guy to come back like the Undertaker does, with a different personality. Oh, maybe that's what's gonna happen. What kind of like new or exciting gimmick are they gonna come up with now? But I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing these days, and they just I don't know. I want CM Punk to sign with AEW. That'd be the best thing. They're also complimenting, you know what though, going back to WWE, they were complimenting MVP on some of the stuff that he was doing on the mic and in the ring, and shout out to him. He's doing this thing, and with uh, the Hurt Business faction that he's starting up. So getting some good young black talent out there, making sure that they're getting their shot too. So that's good. That's good of him, And he did go on record as saying that he would like to do, you know, more TV, more just jibber jabbing than actual, wrestling, actual the physical stuff. And I mean, you can't really blame the guy. It's a lot better to get paid to talk shit about wrestling than it is to actually do the wrestling and get paid for it. So I don't blame the guy, but we'll see what happens. He's doing some good things. He set up some good things. Hopefully, he can kind of keep it rolling. Give those young black athletes a shot too. Hopefully that can just sort of evolve and we can see what it progresses to over time and everything. So yeah, um, nothing else really that sort of caught my eye that I wanted to speak on. Um, Hockey will be starting up soon. I'm very excited about that. Guys are getting geared up still. I think they released the schedule I saw in my news feed, but I didn't look really too much into it until I start hearing about actual live games. I'm not going to. So, but hopefully, my boys in Philadelphia can get out there, storm it out, take no prisoners, and get themselves to a Stanley Cup final again, and this time win one. That'd be great. I know it's going to be dubbed, the Corona tournament, the COVID Cup is going to be dubbed as, but I don't care. I would still go to Philadelphia to watch the parade if they did it. I mean, I would honestly, I would bring a big fat asterisk sign with me to take to the parade. I don't care. They're still going to have rings, and you're still going to see them as a three-time champion when you go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and that's all that matters. So you can put asterisks on whatever you want, but at the end of the day, all people are going to be able to say is that they won. So, and that goes for any team. That goes for any team. I'm saying that about Philly, and that's great, and I'm being passionate about it and everything, but, whichever team wins, they'll deserve it just as much as any other team. It's a shame that they couldn't finish off the regular season and whatnot, but it doesn't look like any league really that started is going to be able to. So as long as they're back on TV and entertaining their fans and giving them something to hope and root and cheer for, hopefully that can uplift a lot of people and, be able to put everybody at ease in a way with what's going on. And sports has always been about team building and unification, through sport and athletics. So hopefully we can continue to do more of that, more unifying and team building, and making sure that we're all on the same page and that we're all trying to do right by each other. So yeah, those are just a few things I wanted to touch on this time on this episode. So we'll see what happens, what develops as we go on here in the sports world. But thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the next show with your boy D minus, and as always, be on the lookout for one of my NHL 20 video highlights. So thank you very much. Appreciate y'all guys' attention. And until the next episode, we'll see you back again on the next show.